So we're talking CES, what new tech is coming out, what's interesting to me, and I want to hear what's interesting to you. Let's watch together.
If you want to see what the future looks like, it's at CES. It's the world's largest tech conference. And to give you a taste of the tech that really matters, here are some of the official 2026 Best of CES winners.
And basically, we're going to look at what Verge thought were the best things, and also what CNET thought were the best things, and I'll throw some other things in there also. So first, this is like a gaming controller thing, which I think is pretty cool. It's like a steering wheel on top of a gaming controller, and I've never seen one of these before. If you guys have, please let me know. But yeah, I would be interested in this one for sure. This one's also an interesting one. I actually would be interested in this. This is like a controller thing that you plug into your phone. So basically, it turns your phone into like a Game Boy. Because I like games. I'm sure you guys like games also. I actually don't like pushing on the screen because it's flat, right? I want that tactile feel. So that's pretty good.
To Lenovo's Kira, which is like Lenovo's answer to Apple Intelligence.
Hey, Kira, catch me up on what I missed today.
Here's what matters.
It's this hybrid AI personal assistant that uses...
And I think every company out there is going to have these personal assistant things. So I know we talk a lot about AI on the channel and such. So I don't think necessarily it's going to go away, but I do think it's a bubble. However, with that said, if these kind of personal assistants end up working really, really well, you can ask it the weather, you can talk to your phone and basically have it automate tasks for you so you don't have to touch your phone. I think that'll be really useful when it works. All these kind of things, though, you never know until you actually get your hands on it for yourself. But there's going to be a lot of competition in this space.
The Best Robot Award went to Boston Dynamics Atlas, and it stood out because it has this naturalistic walking gait, and it's ready to be deployed at Hyundai
And we talked about this before. So yeah, my understanding is they're going to start using these in the factory, but it may just be for show at Hyundai. But I think in a couple of years, maybe to do some minimal tasks or whatever. But yeah, they're definitely the leader of Boston Dynamics. Hyundai, if you don't know, Hyundai did acquire them. Do I want one for my personal house? I always ask my wife about this stuff. She finds the robots to be scary, so this is probably more a business product, and that's not necessarily a consumer product at the moment. Talking about consumer products, they're talking about a scale here. Take a look at this.
Barefoot on the CES floor. So my pick for best health tech of CES 2026 is the Withings Body Scan 2. Now, it's a smart scale, but it's a little bit different in that Withings is trying to reposition the idea of weighing yourself into a longevity station. Longevity tech is a big trend here in the health tech sector, and Withings is basically divided it into two pillars. One is going to be cardiovascular health, and one is going to be metabolic health. Now, usually with metabolic health, it's got to be...
So basically it's health tech stuff, right? And I've heard that this is actually a really hot market right now. I remember when we first started wearing those watch things like the Pebbles or the Apple Watch, or, I think Samsung does things like all this stuff does that. And now you're talking about scales. And actually my wife has a scale. We have an electric scale here, and this is basically just an upgraded version of that. So I actually think something this would be popular, and how this game was played. One company comes out with one. If it's a big hit, then you suddenly get a bunch of competitors popping out of the woodwork. This is a drone, and I think this is an interesting one. Verge put this on there, and basically you're going to get drones with multiple cameras. Now, the U.S. did ban Chinese drones at the moment. I don't know if that'll ban will stick or not. And then essentially, I think there's going to be a race to put out these kind of stuff because people like this stuff. I don't have one personally, but I do think they're interesting if you're interested in that kind of thing. Here they got this like face mask thing from L'Oreal, which is really interesting. Let's look at this.
I gotta say, wearables was a little disappointing at this year's show, but this, let me tell you, I really hate it when people ask me about LED face masks, whether they should buy it, mainly because as a category, it's full of snake oil. What I liked about L'Oreal's product is it's actually taking the concept of a sheet mask, something that a lot of skincare nerds already know how.
Interesting. So she was even saying it's a lot of times these masks are snake oil, but then she starts saying that this one may be a little bit different. I'll just say this, actual sort of skincare masks are really popular in Korea. You can get them in USA too. I think I'm saying they're just really popular here, but that's more of like basically a moisturizer thing. So this is electronic with LED lights is what she's saying though.
How to use, and it's just condensing the steps of your skincare routine with a thin, flexible mask. And what is the number one rule of wearable tech? Verge readers will know. I keep saying this. It has to be comfortable to wear. Most LED light masks, they're not comfortable to wear. And a lot of these mask makers don't.
I see. Well, it's not impossible we're all wearing these things in the future. I know it looks funny when you look at this thing, but yeah, masks are a thing. Again, they're popular here in Korea. This is a laptop that they're looking at. And again, I'm just going through the tech. I'm telling you what I think, and I want to hear your thoughts also.
For best laptop of CES 2026 is this right here, the Asus ROG Zephyrus Duo. It's a dual screen gaming laptop with two 16-inch OLED displays and a detachable keyboard deck and trackpad. You can set it up like a clamshell, or you can use it in this kind of manner as an up and down dual monitor setup or side by side. A lot of versatility. We don't know the price just yet, but the bottom line is
I see. And actually, this is a true story. We were walking around here in Busan, and I saw a guy in a coffee shop that had like his laptop and then like a tablet attached next to it, which is kind of interesting. So basically, dual screen. But it's a really common here. There's a lot of people that work in cafes these days. I don't know. I can't speak to the what's going on in the USA or your country. But I can just say here in Korea, there's a ton of these kind of people that they'll just be in a cafe for like 5 hours. They take phone calls in the cafe. This is like basically just their office. And so I think these kind of things are actually a thing. I don't know necessarily for gaming if a gamer wants to spend X amount of dollars, because these gaming laptops are actually really expensive. But the concepts are pretty interesting. Basically, you're looking at, okay, the way a phone folds, why not laptops? So that's probably the future. What else we have? They have like cool keyboards like this stuff. So me myself, I never like the knobbies on the keyboard. I like physical buttons, stuff like that, but I always feel like the knob is not that useful for me. I'd be curious to your guys' thoughts on this one, but this is a keyboard. This was a laptop that basically expands, which is kind of interesting way to do it. So you can see it's like super wide atop like a T. And then this is some home tech stuff. Let's see what they got here.
Smart home product at CES 2026 is the Aqara Smart Lock U400. It may just look like a fairly standard smart lock, but the U400 has a hidden superpower, a UWB antenna. This is one of the first smart locks to work with Apple HomeKey's hands-free unlocking. The antenna in the lock connects to a UWB radio in your iPhone or Apple
I see.
Watch.
So basically it's going to be a phone with your use to unlock your doors. Actually, here in Korea, this stuff, pretty much everyone has it. We don't necessarily have it connected to a phone. We just use combination lock as a digital like screen, and you open it up. But it's really, really common in Korea. And for those of you who have ever been here, you'll probably know that it's like pretty much everyone has stuff. And I'm trying to think how long we've had this kind of technology here. I don't know, maybe 10 years, something like that. So you don't have that many keys anymore. And I think it's going to be a thing in the USA. Now, obviously, you always have like the worries of hacking and that kind of stuff. So I don't have any comment on that other than everyone has them here in Korea. And if there were like big hacking stuff, which certainly it'll certainly be a concern in the future. I think it would be like massive news here, and we would stop using it. But at the moment, it's really common here in Korea. And I'd be curious you guys' thoughts. I personally really like this stuff. Then I don't have to carry an extra set of keys. Like trying to minimize the amount of stuff that I have to carry is great for me. So I like this kind of tech myself. You're going to see a bunch of these in the future, basically e-ink, like calendar, weather kind of tablet things. At the moment, there's a bunch of competitors out there. I personally really like this stuff, and I like the e-ink readers. I wish my phone and my monitor were e-ink because it would be a lot easier on my eyes. But yeah, if you're interested in these kind of things, that's gonna be a new thing coming out. This was something I had never thought about before. I think for people who like birds, myself included, I like birds, and it's basically a camera with a bird feeder, which is pretty cool. So, and you can probably use the camera for anything that you want. Like if you want to like, post it in your house of just a way to watch your house and to watch the birds. It's pretty cool. So I'm down with that. This one's an interesting one. I could see how this would be popular, but I would imagine it's not going to be cheap. Eventually it'll get cheap, but basically this is a lamp and a hair dryer built into one, which is pretty funny. It's not a bad idea actually, because having to hold up your hair dryer it's kind of a hassle, and why not just sit down and do it that way? Why not? It's pretty interesting. This is a robot, which I think is probably going to be the big hit if all the robot vacuums go to this design. See how this works here.
Robot at CES 2026 is Roborock's Saros Rover. They finally did it. They can climb stairs. This is a robot vacuum that can not only climb up stairs using its articulated legs, but it can also vacuum your stairs.
I mean, what else do we want? Now, you don't need to buy multiple robots for multiple floors. This bot will be able to climb up and down and vacuum all over your home. It can also hop to get over transitions between rooms. This could be a robot vacuum that hopefully will solve the problem of how to act.
That's pretty sweet. I won't lie. So when these things become affordable, and again, I think all companies are they all copy each other. That's probably the future. So it's kind of like a Star Warsy kind of design with this. And it's funny because Elon always says, "Oh, the future is humanoid robots and stuff like that." Not necessarily. So I'm not against robots in the home and that kind of stuff. And it'll be not necessarily humanoid though, like this kind of design. We have a robot vacuum. I think many people in our community have one. Well, once you get used to it, you just turn it on every day. Like literally, it keeps your house clean. The stair thing is really fascinating, though. I'm just not that smart enough to think about something like that. But yeah, I personally think this would be a pretty big hit. And once they hit the market, I'm sure I'll be looking at it.
My pick for the best phone of 2026 at CES, Samsung Galaxy Z Trifold. There are a couple qualifiers here. It's not officially launched in the US, but we know it's coming. Samsung sort of announced this phone before CES.
So it's basically it's a folding phone in three-way. The big problem with these things is just cost. They're really expensive right now, and I don't know, it's like $2,000 or $3,000, that kind of thing. And yes, they're really cool. But basically, before it was like, how can you slim down a phone? Now that we can make them really, really slim, how can we get a big screen? And it makes YouTube, better, reading your emails or whatever better. But I don't want to carry a tablet around, so why not a folding tablet? That's basically what these things end up being. And I've seen this kind of stuff here in Korea. I didn't know that it wasn't coming to US. I'm sure you'll eventually get it. Samsung, you'll get one eventually. I mean, not that you'll buy one, but it'll come to your market soon.
CES is seeing all the luxurious televisions,
TVs.
but the best new TV is the Samsung S95H. It is 35%
So they like the
brighter than
Samsung.
before. It is
Basically, TVs, they get better. And here's another TV. This is from Verge, what they think.
TV is the TCL X11L. Now, the reason I'm choosing this TV is because of two new technologies that the company is implementing. We have newly reformulated quantum dots and a brand new color filter. And the combination of these two technologies allows this TV to achieve up to 100% of BT 2020. And it will be the only LED TV that will include this technology.
So basically really good TVs. If you want to get into the tech of stuff, you can, watch all this stuff. But I'm not against, really good TVs. The thing with this stuff, though, is how often you need to upgrade, right? I'm thinking the cycle for a TV is probably going to be over 5 years. I don't, very few people are going to buy a TV every year. You could even argue, 10 years. The ones are coming out with like these days, they're like so dang good. And you can get a TV, $500,000, like a really good one. And you want to go crazy amounts of money, you can certainly spend that. But the future looks really bright for TVs. So it's always cool to see this stuff. This was an interesting one. Headphones. We'll take a look at this.
Fender Mix headphones. Now, these are the first headphones that Fender has released. They are solidly built. They're comfortable on your head. They have a good amount of clamping force, but not too much. And they also sound great. I was a big fan of the tuning.
So basically headphones. And for this kind of stuff, they say, hey, this thing is coming out. But my experience with headphones, you got to try it on for yourself and see how it fits your head, because everyone's head is different. And then, I personally don't like to wear over the ear headphones. That's just me. I prefer there's actually the new designs. There's sort of like, how can you call it? They're not the ones that you put in your ear. They're like kind of hanging the bottom of your ear. I've been seeing those things hit the market also. It's a competitive space for people who are into headphones. This was an interesting one. The Verge said the Mercedes was the coolest car.
So my pick for best car at CES was kind of a no-brainer because it was the only thing real enough for us to test ourselves. And that was the Mercedes Drive Assist Pro, which is a level 2 partially autonomous driver assist system.
So basically just a really good Mercedes. I actually think the interior looks pretty nice on this thing. Look at that screen on this thing. It's like all across the dashboard. And a lot of the Korean makers are doing this. Mercedes partnered with NVIDIA. We talked about this before on the channel. I think Tesla's done for, and this is just another example of that. So Don't sleep on Mercedes. I mean, don't sleep on BMW, and then you got Hyundai, Toyota. It's competitive. There's a lot of cool cars coming out.
Is most fun. And I'm choosing Minverse by Haptic. They make haptics controllers. And what that means is this controller, it has haptic feedback. So whatever you're interacting with, an object in 3D space on the screen, you'll feel it in your pen. It's something you kind of really got to experience to understand, but the demos are super cool. And playing with it in 3D modeling was really, really fun. I was using Freeform, an app that
It's like a pen with haptic feedback. If you don't know what that means, it's basically like, you know, when you push on something, it kind of has a bit of resistance, so you can feel the textures and stuff like that. Cool tech, really, really cool tech, especially for people who draw or need that kind of thing. You know, obviously a lot of this stuff will be used for video games and stuff like that, which is fun, but there'll be definitely practical applications for this stuff.
Practical, sensible products that you can and maybe should go and buy this year. This is not that. This is our irrational award of CES 2026. The thing that we love, even though we know we really shouldn't. Ecovacs, little Milo. It is a fluffy little robot toy dog that doesn't really do very much more than just sit there and be a fluffy little robot toy dog. It's cute and it's cuddly and it wags its tail.
Yeah, it's just a really good robot dog thing. It's funny in the way that a dog closes its eyes. Some of these things can be kind of creepy, I won't lie. But if you do it right, I'm sure some people like this stuff. My experience with any kind of these, you know, robot stuffed animals, they just make really annoying noises. You got to put batteries in it. And not for me, but I guess they're getting better.
The Lego Smart Brick is my best of CES 2026 because this tiny computer keeps surprising me with so much playable tech. It doesn't just play lights and sounds. It lets Lego characters and vehicles interact. When you drop Luke into an X-Wing, it recognizes that he's there. It recognizes that it is an X-Wing. And if you drop R2-D2 in as well, you could do a barrel roll and hear R2-D2 scream. It could do this because it uses NFC tags to detect that both Luke and R2-D2 are there. Because the bricks have their own wireless Bluetooth mesh network, they can see each other's
you guys
position.
get the idea. So basically you're putting sensors in the Legos, and then they'll play sound effects when they're next to other Legos to interact. I'm not saying it's not cool, because I won't lie. This stuff is pretty cool technology, but I'm just literally thinking in my head, there's something about when you're a kid, and you guys know this when you're kids, where you like have toys, you're like, vroom, 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 rah, 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 and R2's like, rah, you know, like to part of the play. And now that I'm just talking with you about it, I think some of this tech, when you're over-teched, it takes away your creativity, and at least for me, I like the sound effects and, you know, saying stuff. I mean, we're becoming too passive, right? Like when I play, you're like, Luke, I'm your father. No, you know, that's part of play. That's just my opinion on this stuff. Now that I, you know, literally just talking through I think we're taking too much agency away from kids by spoiling them too much with this cool tech. Not that it's not cool, but I do. There's something to be said for your own creativity and expressing yourself. But you get the idea.
And orientation, which lets the two of them do battle. You can have this X-Wing and Darth Vader TIE Fighter blast at each other, and it'll keep track of the number of hits they've taken. But there's also
I won't lie, it is cool technology. You can even track the number of hits there. And so, wow. And I bet you this stuff won't be cheap. Legos are expensive these days. And essentially, we were just in a Lego store the other day, and basically it looks like their whole business model is to, what do you want to call it? Like, do brand partnerships, be it, you know, One Piece, right? The anime or the live action show on Netflix, or, you know, Star Wars or Jurassic Park, Harry Potter. We saw it all there. So that's kind of their plan going forward. It looks like smart Legos. And then this was kind of a funny one. This is like the thing that they would actually buy. It's like a $10 speaker at IKEA. Because a lot of stuff at CES, it's cool when it comes out, but, you know, when a tech first comes out, it's really, really expensive. And so give it a few years, and eventually I'll get this stuff. So that's my thoughts on this stuff coming out. I'd like to hear yours. My favorite thing's just top of my head when I was looking at it. I like that robot vacuum. I like e-ink creators. I think the foldy phones, once they become affordable, I think we're probably all going to have one go that way. I didn't see any, how can I say, like other cars in the Mercedes one, because that's kind of what everyone's talking about. We talked about before on the channel, there's like Honda's got one coming out, but it looks like Mercedes had the best one this year, and nothing from Tesla, of course, because they don't got anything. Anyway, that's my thoughts. I want to hear yours, and I'll catch you all in the next video.